Hey folks, this is Kalani. Welcome back to the Blackrock Foundry raid guide for normal and heroic. This time we'll be looking at Blackhand.
I'll bring this whole place down around your heads!
This fight consists of 3 phases, so it's kind of long and there's a lot going on, but it's not all that difficult as long as you keep a level head. You'll start in the room where you engage Blackhand. He'll start pouring molten slag into the room, which covers the outside area and works its way inwards. This is a little bit of a soft enrage for the phase. You need to get to 70% before that slag overwhelms your raid. In the meantime, Blackhand is going to use quite a few abilities. The first of these is Marked for Death, arguably the most important thing in the fight. He's going to mark a few targets and after a short duration throw a spear towards them. That spear needs to be blocked by an object, which comes to our second ability, Demolition. Demolition is going to cause a few small swirls on the floor, which aren't too much to worry about, but avoid them as much as you can, and then 3 large swirls on the floor. These large swirls deal a huge amount of damage, but that damage is reduced the further you are away from them, so try and move as far away as you can while still being able to hit the boss and heal everybody you need to. Those large swirls are going to leave behind a debris pile. That debris pile is what's going to block your spears. So when people are marked with Marked for Death, they need to group up behind the same debris pile and make sure all the spears are going into one debris pile. Rinse, repeat, and you should be fine. Blackhand's second ability is Throw Slag Bombs. He'll throw a few slag bombs at random locations and they'll arm after 3 seconds. If anybody triggers those slag bombs, they'll take a huge amount of damage and become debuffed with Slagged, which increases the damage they take by 100%. Avoid all of the bombs at all costs. The last ability in the first phase is Shattering Smash. It's going to deal a lot of damage split between whoever it hits. Your tank should be able to take this alone with a cooldown, but it is going to stun them, meaning you'll need an immediate tank swap afterwards. When you get to 70%, the floor will cave in and you'll go into phase 2. The first thing that's different about phase 2 is you'll have quite a few ads to deal with, but they'll be on the balcony above throwing down explosive rounds. Now these do damage in 6 yards around random players, so everyone wants to be at least 6 yards apart. To deal with those ads, you want a few melee to stack up on Shattering Smash. That'll send them into the balcony above where they can start killing the ads. You're going to take quite a bit of damage while you're up there, so just do what you can and then get down before you die. Blackhand is still going to use Mark for Death and throw slag bombs, so you want to kite him around the room sort of slowly, just make sure no one's tripping over those slag bombs, and there's a new target for your Mark for Death spears. Blackhand will activate one of the siege makers around the room. It's going to fixate on the closest target and start chasing them, so a designated range needs to make sure they're that target. They'll want to look and see which gate is coming up so they can be the closest to it to be fixated. When fixated, they'll want to make sure they're dragging the ad around the room in the same direction that the boss is being kited, so they can drag it over all the bombs that are being left behind. Anyone who gets Marked for Death will need to make sure they put the ad between themselves and the boss, so the spear that is thrown hits the ad. That'll break its armor plating, and every subsequent spear does a huge amount of damage. It's a nice way to get rid of the ad and make sure you're not taking damage yourself. If the ad dies and you get Marked for Death without something to take it for you, either deal with it as best you can with heals or have someone with an immunity block the spears. People really need to be on point with the Marked for Death because the siege maker needs to die before it gets to 100 energy. If it gets to 100 energy, it will start firing a huge firebomb into the room, which starts spreading, and then subsequent firebombs will come faster and faster. When you get Blackhand down to 30%, you'll transition into the third and final phase. You'll drop down onto a molten disc and start taking fire damage over time, which gets higher and higher. The first thing you need to do is take your entire raid to an edge. You'll need to tank Blackhand just a little bit away because he still uses slag bombs, but he'll attach them to random players. Those players will need to go right next to the edge until the slag bomb arms and then move away. He'll also use Mark for Death, but the spear now pierces everything it hits and still knocks you back. Make sure you're not going to get knocked off the edge and make sure you're alone so it's only hitting the marked target. Blackhand will also keep using his Shattering Smash, but now it needs to be split between the entire raid and it's gonna knock everybody back. So make sure you're facing him towards the middle of the room and make everyone stack just behind the tank so everyone gets blown in the same direction. That smash is going to leave behind a slag crater which is going to start erupting, basically making that section of the room unusable. You only have enough room to deal with 4 smashes comfortably, so when the 5th one comes, you need to have killed Blackhand. Treat the room as a square and take Blackhand to each corner. That should be your 4 smashes and enough time to get Blackhand down. This should be everything you need to take down Blackhand on normal and heroic, but if you have any questions or queries, please leave them in the comment section below and I'll try to get back to you. Feel free to check out any of my other guides for Blackrock Foundry, normal and heroic. Remember to leave a like just below the video before you leave, and if you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always, I will see you next time.